Hey Poopy is looking for you and your poo.
Do you have a question, story, comment, or fart noise you want to share?
You can email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com.
Or call us at the new Hey Poopy hotline, 203-998-5579.
Can't wait to hear from you.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
Man, I'm just, trying to find a place with like-minded people to talk about like-minded things, about me, about poop and stuff.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
Oh man, what's this right here? Is this a podcast about poop?
And now, the Hey Poopy Podcast with Dave and Ellen.
Yes, we are back on Dump Day.
We are. Hey, everybody. This is the Hey Poopy Podcast with
Dave
and Ellen, and this is episode 88, but it'll always be number 2 to us. And as much as our lovely theme song says this is a podcast about poop, we also are a podcast about everything but. And we have Brandon Kennedy from Reegür today to talk about everything but.
Let me start off by saying, thank you for being on the show, but also this is Ellen's Christmas. It is. She's been wanting someone. This is. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking and just say thank you for coming on the show.
Oh wait, no, tell me more about that, Ellen. Tell me more about that history with that.
Okay, so we started this podcast off because we were like, let's make jokes about poop and people who poop their pants. And then we realized that we're learning a lot of stuff about everything but. And so we have broadened our spectrum to having cancer survivors on and doctors
surgeons
and all different kinds of stuff. And then I have led down this path of maybe figuring out if somebody could tell me about fisting. And every time we book somebody that we're this close to getting this can talk about fisting, they disappear on us.
Yeah.
Oh, wah, wah, wah.
So, yeah. Ellen has been wanting.
Well, I am not going to disappear. We can talk about all things fisting right here, right
This is amazing. I can't even tell you how Ellen has been. This is literally it's a quinceañera, birthday party, bat mitzvah, Christmas, New Year's, all wrapped up in the one. So,
fisting is such a gift. You have no idea.
I have not personally myself done it, but my curiosity has peaked on so many levels. So, yeah. Our dear friend Chris Harder introduced us to you all and at Reegür. And from what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Reegür is almost like a connection site to fisters?
It is. It's actually a mobile application that is available on iOS, Apple, as well as Google Android. And the application launched back in June of 2019, and it's grown quite rapidly. It just kind of came out of the beta phases in April when we launched over into offering pro subscription versions.
Oh, wow.
And we are now at about a little over 8,000 users internationally.
Wow. That's awesome. Nice.
Before, Brandon, we go into even more about Reegür and yourself, can you please tell us, we're going to go back to the poop part, how have you been pooping? And did you poop today?
So I've been pooping quite well. I actually, so a little bit of backstory. When I was much younger, I didn't realize that I probably was not pooping enough. And I think they say if you go 2 or 3 times a day, it's really great.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that I was just super backed up, even going into early adulthood. So I became much more conscious about, my bowel movements and making sure that I was getting things out. I even went as far as going to a few different places and getting some colonics done. And it felt amazing. God, I felt like shitloads lighter.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It was amazing afterwards.
God, it's you feel like you can float.
What'd you say?
I said you feel like you're floating.
Yes, I'm telling you, when you finish doing that, you feel like you could walk on the clouds.
Yeah, it's great.
And they say the average person has 5 to 10 pounds of feces inside of them because they're not cleansed.
Yeah.
So I started even drinking coffee on a daily basis, and the coffee, along with my probiotic, I take a probiotic every morning with a full glass of water. I also have usually a cup and a half or so of coffee, and I definitely usually go in the morning, and then I might go throughout the rest of the day once or so. But yeah, I think I'm pooping pretty good. I'm happy with my poop schedule right now.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And you pooped already today?
Yes, I did poop already today. I got it in this morning.
Nice.
It's like clockwork, like 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes after my probiotic and the coffee, like it goes. But I'm really conscious about going now. So I definitely stick to that regimen so that I can make sure that I'm cleansing and getting all that toxic stuff and waste out of my body.
Completely. That's smart. Yes, very much so.
Did you guys poop already today?
I did. Yeah, I did twice. I got up around 6:30 this morning, and it was not a good one. It was like on the Bristol stool chart. It was 6. It was pretty liquidy. I was like, damn, what the fuck? And I didn't really.
What did you eat?
No, I had like a salad last night with some potatoes, roasted potatoes, like nothing too crazy. But anyway, and then I pooped literally before this interview started. I was sitting here in my office. We still are under this whole Corona quarantine lockdown ish, and I was getting ready to do the show. Had my headphones on. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom right now, so I had to like run in there. And, it was quick. It was like a quick number, I guess 5, if I had to like categorize it on the Bristol stool chart.
A number 5.
Yeah. So it was a little loose, but still had some.
Brandon, do you know the Bristol stool chart?
Yes, where they go from like the little solid balls and then it kind of goes for consistency, which is also usually a really big indicator of how hydrated you are.
Oh, completely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what you are on the Bristol stool chart usually?
I'm usually really long, smooth poops.
Oh, so you're
really long, smooth.
You're number 4. You're like the gold standard.
We like to call that the perfect 4.
And you know what? For a while, it used to scare me because I was like, could it get any longer? It would be one solid big old. I'm like, am I doing this right? Like, it's so much so that I remember talking to the doctor about it, saying like, I'm pooping, but when I poop, like it just comes out one really big long way. He's like, yeah, like you're good. If it's not hard and it's soft and you're not straining, and you're good. And I was like, okay, great. Like, and now because I pay attention to that chart, I'm able to tell if I'm getting enough water intake or if I'm not. Yeah. And I can tell, with the different types of foods that I may eat based off of what my poop is. So I totally pay attention to my poop much more and I analyze it. It tells you a lot about your body.
Completely.
Awesome.
Talking about the perfect 4, we also on the show like to call it a no push, no wipe because it falls out of you like an animal in the woods. So... That's the gold standard. Yeah, but I have something to announce to our lovely audience. Only Dave knows this. A couple episodes ago, Dave finally gave me the okay to send him a photo of my poop. And I only if I made a perfect 4. And Dave, you can like follow up with what I'm about to say. Yes. I text you first asking, are you ready?
Yes.
Then I sent you a picture with my humongous perfect 4 with a ruler next to it.
With a ruler. It was ridiculous. It was humongous. I can confirm this.
Oh my God, I have tears in my eyes right now.
It took us 88 episodes to get to this point.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's officially happened.
I should preface by saying too, because when I did say that, I was like, it has to be spectacular. It can't just be like, I'm sticking a random like basic shit. I mean, if I'm going to see it, which I normally do not want to see it, but if I do, it's got to be pretty remarkable. And it was. I got to admit, it was. I was like,
it went down the hole, so I didn't even get it looked like 8 inches, but it went down the hole, so it could have been like a 10-incher. And it poked out of the water on the other end.
Oh my God.
That's how big it was.
Yep. It was massive.
I was totally like not ready for it today. Like I'm totally ready for anything and nothing catches me off guard. And you guys are totally like, I'm off guard right now. And I'm a therapist. Like I'm a therapist and a social worker as well too. And I talk to people about some different types of things. And usually nothing catches me off guard. Like today, I'm totally caught off guard. Like it's so liberating.
I'm glad we could have saved this. When Dave finally gave me the okay for me to text him, he literally cursed me for weeks. I could not make a great shit. And I was like, is this ever going to happen again? Now that it's like that
it's like
catch
a voodoo,
22. Like now that I
doctor.
have permission, it's never going to happen. And finally it happened, and I shared it with him. So, Dave, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
But
leave. Yeah, I need him to leave.
But I did poop today twice. But my first poop, Dave and I were on a meeting with our executive producer Stormy Leather this morning, and we were on the meeting for a little over an hour. I want to say close to an hour and 15. And towards the end of it, I was like, you guys, I have to get off the phone because it's literally turtling out of my butthole. I have to go. And I literally like hung up the phone while I was like pulling my pants off. And I made like 2 decent size 4s next to each other. They were like maybe like 4 or 5 inches long.
That's that's amazing.
I don't know what happened. So my family and I, we have this whole thing or whatever as it relates to pooping, and we call it dropping our kids in the pool.
I've heard that.
It's like our family thing. It's like, so are you dropping your kids off to the pool? Like, yeah, I'm dropping my kids off to the pool right now. I'll call you back. But it's like our running family thing or whatever. And then sometimes when we're talking, it's like, yeah, that kid took a real big piss. It was a big kid. But my mother, my grandmother, all of us, we have like a hilarious time talking about dropping our kids off to the pool. The experience is like.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it was so funny too because Dave, Stormy, and I have a weekly meeting, and if it's just a phone call, I will totally put the phone on mute and shit while I'm talking to them. But because we were on FaceTime today, I was like, you guys, I have to go. I have to go.
Go, you did.
It's like stands the sound effect.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh yeah, right. She's like,
That was me getting off the phone.
oh my God. Yeah. Oh, that is
Hilarious.
Oh my God.
And we had been on the phone so long that we were at the part of the conversation where we were talking about how we each use our bidets and like and I was like, you guys, this bidet talk is like literally opening up the floodgates for me. I gotta go.
Yeah.
You're like, bye.
Bye-bye.
A mental note. Well,
Turtle. It totally reminded me. Wasn't it Adam Sandler? I think it was. Turtle.
That's right. What movie was that from? Was that from Billy Madison?
I think it was Adam Sandler. I can't remember what movie it was. But anyway, it made me think about that. And the turtle like peeking out.
We'll have to look up that as a sound effect,
Oh my God,
Dave.
so good. Yeah, for
that
sure.
would be hilarious.
For sure.
So I'm one of those people who like, I won't have to poop, but the minute I have to go, it's like I have 30
You gotta
seconds.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time's ticking.
It's like, yeah. It will happen to my pants.
I get some warning and I can clench a little bit, but yeah, I got some.
Yeah.
I have maybe tops 5 minutes. And like Dave will see me, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm wiggling around.
Oh my God, that would have to suck because like for me, I always would prefer to like go and poop at home. So it's like, or like in a if I'm out or traveling, I want to go back to my hotel room or something like that. So 5 minutes, that would suck. Like I need at least like 30 to 45 so I can get to where I gotta go first, and then I can release.
I am the queen of shitting in public places. Like you name the grocery store, the like everything. I've shit in all of them.
I can't. And actually, when I have, it's such an epic process, right? Because like I'll go to the sink, so I'll get the paper towels, I'll get some soap, and I'll go and clean off the toilet. Then after I finish doing that, I will still line the toilet seat with toilet paper so that I can sit on that.
Well, that's the great thing about carrying around hand sanitizer. I've been like sanitizing the seat first with the alcohol, and then I lay the nest, and then I like sit down and make my do.
Yes, exactly. Like it has to be that way.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree. Well, should we get into who Brandon is?
Yeah.
Give us a little background about yourself.
Okay, so originally I am from Indianapolis, Indiana. And I have lived all over the place. I've lived in DC. I've lived in Europe and London and Cambridge for a while.
Oh, nice.
I've lived in quite a few different places all over the world. I also started getting into fisting probably, I want to say 2011.
Oh, damn.
And so it started off with me just kind of like hooking up with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were hooking up and everything. And I've always had a thing for fingering, like even with girls when I was, younger. So, of course, you kind of put a couple fingers in, kind of get it started and everything. And then, you insert after a while. So I just kept going because it was like one finger, two fingers, 2 went to 4. And like,
next thing you know, boom, gone.
And I'm an explorer. So like, I wanted to just see what it was about.
You're like Indiana Jones.
Before I knew it, I was like, I had my entire hand inside of this guy's butthole. And I was like, what the fuck just happened here? And like, he seemed to like, I'm looking at him and I'm looking at my hand and looking at his butthole, and he isn't giving me any resistance. So clearly somebody's not in the loop here, and it's totally not the other guy. It's me. Like, I'm not caught up on what's happening. So after we finished having the experience and all that, and we still had sex, and the sex was still great. Like, it felt amazing. And so afterwards, we finished doing what we were doing, and he was like, did you enjoy that? I was like, yeah, it was good. He was like, great. He was like, because I can't find a lot of, he was like, I can't find black guys that are into it in this type. So this whole thing is like a conundrum at the second. So then he said, well, would you be open to doing it again? I said, yeah, the curious me. I'm like, well, I'm into everybody. So I'm going to figure out just how far down the rabbit hole I can go. So it just kind of went from there or whatever. And I started exploring and learning more. And at the time, like, I have an associate's degree as a medical assistant. So I've done like anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. So I know what's in there.
Yeah, you know the body.
I didn't know that I would love further exploring. So, and now here it is, like, 10 going on 11 years later. And I have a freaking platform that is surrounding fisting. And I also throw like events and stuff like that. So it's definitely been fun, and I've been able to not only enjoy the sexual components of fisting, but I've also been able to enjoy a lot of the other community building aspects with it. And I try to take those community building aspects into a lot of other things with the platform. So like, even when you go on Reegür and create a profile, it asks you if you're single and in parentheses looking to date, or single parentheses just me for now. So that, for those guys who are into the fisting fetish community and they are wanting to date other individuals that are similar, like-minded, they would be able to know who those individuals are. And even when I have my events, I try to make sure that I include sober and sobriety meetings for individuals to attend. And I try to make sure that we have like our community breakfasts, and I invite sponsors and vendors to come and stuff like that. So I try to definitely, keep the sex at the forefront, but I like to also make sure that we're infusing a lot of other humanizing aspects.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Now, are you yourself? Sorry, are you yourself? I said, sorry, are you yourself into being fisted, like getting fisted as well?
I am not into being fisted. I am one of the rare fist fuck tops.
Okay.
So it's one of the things that I've definitely, enjoyed doing. And I have been surprised. Guys have told me that they are surprised that I don't get fisted because my attention to detail and my attention to my partner is so spot on with reading them and seeing what they like and knowing when to probably, knowing when to add a little more pressure, knowing when to check that. So I definitely have patting my hand on the back. I've been highly regarded as being a very intuitive fist fuck top, and I love everything about it. And I don't have a desire today to want to fist fuck bottom at all, and really enjoy it.
Nice. Okay.
And my question is, at your events, do you teach classes? Like, because I feel there's a lot of do's and don'ts to fistings, right?
So the events are a little bit different. So if you have gotten to a place in fisting where you have decided that you actually want to attend a fist fuck centric event, usually you're much more along the lines of what I would call intermediate to advanced. Like, you definitely can take a fist. You kind of know what you like, what you don't like. So there are some different things that happen all the time throughout the year. Well, not now because of COVID, but there are a lot of people in the community who are very experienced, and they will put on local classes wherever they are. for individuals to get more information. And even on the Reegür website, there's a FAQ that just kind of talks about like the do's and the don'ts, and more so like the common courtesies. Like if you see that individuals are having like a session with each other, not to just invite yourself into that group, but more so wait until they finish or get a signal from somebody that it's okay to join in. So there's like a lot of those different types of things that are out there. And I usually will put that out there in an email before an event happens, so that it kind of sets the expectation and the tone for everyone to have like a good quality of time while they're playing, without, you know, kind of rudely being interrupted by somebody who may not know what the etiquette is.
Yes. No, I mean, I feel like anything that's in the sexual realm of like sex parties, there's do's and don'ts. But I'm also curious if there's like if you know anatomy from how you said you went to school and stuff, but but like if you're teaching other people, somebody's like, I really, really want to be a fist top. Like, is there do's and don'ts to like what you could like tell our audience if they were interested in it?
Gotcha. So in that regard, so it's like, yeah, you know, I know a lot of things with regards to the ileum, the duodenum, and the jejunum, which are, you know, all these things that make up your intestines. But at the same time, my experience has more so been hands-on. So if the bottom consents and agrees to allow for another individual to kind of like explore fist fuck topping while another experienced fist fuck top is there, I've kind of gone through the coaching aspect in that regard.
Gotcha.
But in regards to actually like curriculum and all that other kind of stuff, there are several different sites that individuals can go to try to find some information. I can send you guys over some of those sites. So if some of your users are interested in some of that information, I can give you the links to a lot of those different sites that go through like the anatomies and stuff like that. I mean, you know, you start all the way from the basics, and the basics are having a conversation with your partner to know what the things are that they definitely know that they enjoy, the things that they know that they don't enjoy. And that kind of helps us set the tone and the foundation. And then everything else is just kind of ad-libbed as you go along with it. And being open to the communication. If somebody says that something is hurting them or something is uncomfortable, it's not necessarily a negative or a bad remark, you know, to the insertive partner. It's just more so me letting you know where I am right now, so that you can kind of change the course to something that might be much more suitable for the moment.
Yeah.
Totally.
Excellent.
And I might be completely uneducated about this, but from what I've heard, Crisco seems to be a big lube in fisting. Is this true? Is this false? Can you, or why is it Crisco?
Ellen, you are touching base on something. No, when I say, Ellen, with all regards, you are touching base on something that is so broad, and it is always, always, always a topic of conversation within the fisting community. And it doesn't matter if it's lesbians, if it's guys, so if it's vaginal fisting or if it's anal, like, or even, you know, heterosexual women, you know, same thing. But there are so many different variations of lube, and some people will use just Crisco. Some people will take Crisco and mix it in with their X lube, mix it in with their J lube, which are powder-based lubricants. So there's like a whole different type of thing, and everyone has their own little recipe and all their little additives. Like some people want to add in a little clove oil. I also sell a product called PDQ. It's called Pretty Darn Quick. I sell that on the Reegür website, and some people have sprayed that into their lube mixture for all of those other things, which is
what does that do?
CBD. So it has a lot of different things. So it's CBD based, and it doesn't have any THC in it. So it definitely like calms the nerves. It could give you that tingling feeling because it has the peppermint in it and all that other kind of stuff. But it's supposed to kind of give you the cooling sensation and relaxing sensation. And the same thing that it does, a lot of these other additives do as well. They just have them in separate ingredients, like clove oil, which is typically like a numbing agent.
Oh.
So there's a lot of different types of mixtures, and it's always a conversation. And guys are always like posting in the different Facebook groups and stuff like that to say, what lube recipes do you guys use? And so I would take everyone's lube recipes, and I would just like throw them all in type of really big ass spreadsheet and say, here's all the ones that you can try out. Here's the primary bases. Go for it from there. Like I would break it down from like your powder based lubricants, your your more solid based lubricants like your Crisco's or maybe like your boy butters, which are like creams, I would add all of those into the same mixture and just say, look, these are the primary bases and these are all the other additives that are added into it, and like just kind of go for it. But it's always a conversation. But Crisco has definitely been like a staple go-to for years.
It's like
years and years.
It's like a box mix versus homemade.
Well, the thing that a lot of individuals like about Crisco is that Crisco gives you that slippery sense, and as Crisco begins to break down, that much more creamier. But the sad part about Crisco as well too is that eventually with your now body heat, it will break it down so much that it also starts to create a lot of friction. So then it's no longer comfortable.
Ooh, no, not at all.
Wow.
Because isn't Crisco made out of palm oil?
There's so many different types of variations. And even now, Crisco has like an all-natural version that they have of Crisco and like a whole bunch of other different types of things. Yeah, they have like, I want to say it's Crisco Organics or something like that.
It would be hilarious if Crisco made like just a sex lube wing.
Yeah, which I'm sure would never happen, but yeah, that would be really interesting.
Just like, look, guys, we got this secret, project we're working on. Oh my
they
God.
should do it and just like spell it backwards and like just do a totally different.
I will say though, like for me, there are a lot of different products in the community by companies that are intending for it to be used for butt play. Yeah. So I always like to support some of those companies and encourage some of the community members to support their products, because their products are usually by people in the community and they're for people in the community. And, when we talk about, products like J-Lube isn't necessarily a product that is made for by members of the community. They know what their product is used for. However, it's like, well, we didn't design it for it to be that. We designed it to be a veterinarian solution, oh, wow. But there's other products like X-Lube, and X-Lube is, by a German guy, and it's a German-based company, and it's for the community, and it's a lot healthier for you because it doesn't have a lot of sugars in it, so it doesn't go bad quite as fast, and a lot of those other different types of...
Fascinating.
Yeah, we've interviewed Dr. Evan Goldstein of Bespoke Surgical. I don't know if you've heard of him here in New York, but he's like...
It sounds really familiar.
Yeah, I call him like basically the gynecologist of buttholes. Like he just checks on everybody's buttholes and gives butthole health advice. And he does stuff where he puts Botox in your butthole to help loosen it up. Or like if you're having problems, he'll help get stuff. He did even an exam on my butthole in January for our 1-year anniversary, because why not?
He's the anal whisperer.
And he puts buttocks in buttholes. That's a new one for me. I haven't heard of that one before.
It loosens it up so you can do things like fisting.
And he also uses it for surgery as well too. Sometimes if someone's like really tight, he has to go in there and like you do that. But yeah, he's a miracle worker.
Wow.
He is a miracle worker. He's doing God's work to buttholes.
Analology.
Yeah.
Yeah. But have you heard of like anything like that? Like, I mean, if somebody like me was like, I'm interested in fisting, where should I start? Besides the communication, besides the consent, is there any kind of protocol for, clean up beforehand? Because I know we've interviewed some people who use the shower shot, and Dr. Evan Goldstein has Future Method, which is a douche. So what do you suggest?
So as I am this, I don't specialize in douching. However, I can say that there are definitely a lot of things that come into play with, one, knowing your diet and kind of knowing what your schedule is, what your poop regimen is, like how much longer you would probably have to process a bowel movement after eating, and depending on what it is that you're eating. I know that knowing your body and knowing your diet definitely is like a really good first step to start. And then from there, the thing that I do know is that it's about your comfortability and preference, and not to assume that the first thing you try out is going to be what actually ends up being like, yeah, that's my thing. You might start off using a freaking like enema bottle or something like that, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, that's not really my thing. And you might find that you like shower shots a lot more. And you might find that you like shower shots so much that you end up buying like an ergo flow so you can douche wherever you go, regardless of what the shower head is. You know? So it's like, it's just a matter of looking at the different douching products, trying a few things out and figuring out what makes you the most comfortable. And then also, from what I have been told and what I have experienced with my partners, you have to be really patient with the cleaning out process. You have to make sure that you're in a really good mental headspace. And if you need music, to play music while you're going through that process or whatever it might be, just making sure that you're giving your body enough time to go through the process and not rushing it. It's like you may want to have that experience with that person who wants to like hook up with you or your spouse, but it's still a matter of making sure that you give your body everything that it needs so that you can efficiently process out, and then not process out so fast that you end up potentially hurting yourself or not really having a so great experience because you rushed it. And now it's like, well, you thought that you were probably going to have a really, really good, fisting experience, but what it turned out was that your clean out wasn't really all that great. And now you're kind of like not enjoying it as much as you could be.
Yes, totally.
Oh, yeah.
This is all good advice.
Excellent.
Yeah. So definitely like being patient with that process and everything that comes along with the clean out process. And I think for someone who's new, the patience is really going to come in with figuring out just how long it takes. And if you wanted to, you could always, if you're a toy person, you could try utilizing some plugs. You can try utilizing some of the bigger dildos and just kind of, oh, you know what? I douche for like an hour or I douche for an hour and a half. And now I'm able to, put a really big whatever dildo inside and the output is what I would like for it to be. Or no, the output isn't what I would like for it to be. And I know some guys who actually utilize a dildo as their tester.
Wow.
They'll put a dildo in, and plus it helps open up your anal cavity more.
Right.
So if you put the dildo in, quite naturally, whatever is on the other side of the dildo, it's going to follow the opening that you created already to come out. So that's usually a good, as we call it, certifying. You'll pre-certify in the shower, and then after that, like if it's like a mortgage session, something like that, you can totally ask like a good friend of yours, hey, could you certify me? Like I used to certify one of my boyfriends all the time.
I never heard of that term before. I love it.
Yeah, we would just certify, and he'd be like, all right, I'll certify you, and just kind of see if anything's there, and if not, then it's like. It's a fucking asshole. So it's like, yeah, shit comes out of it. So if it's not so great, and that brings me to another super, super, super important point. You talked about like if you're a person who is interested in like fisting as an assertive partner. If you're fisting as an assertive partner, it is super, super critical to be very conscious about your bottom partner and to not bottom shame. Because it's something that is really big, and it doesn't just happen in the fisting community. It also happens in the general like sex community. Yeah. A lot of people will bottom shame, and it's like, ooh, there's shit on my dick, or ooh, you didn't clean enough. And it's like, as opposed to what might be a better approach that doesn't make that person feel bad about that process, and you actually encourage them to maybe go and clean up a little bit or whatever that process needs to look like. But you do it in a sense that doesn't make that person feel bad about, their clean out process. Somebody can douche for like 2 hours and still probably have something there. You just don't know what's going to happen, but it's a really big thing. So I would definitely tell a lot of individuals who are into fisting and wanting to be the inserted partner to be very mindful about their bottom's feelings, especially when it comes to issues surrounding shit. Yeah. And some bottoms will definitely let you have it if you bottom shame them.
Yeah, they should. I'm glad you said that. I mean, Dave and I are both in heterosexual relationships, and Dave is even, he's a heterosexual man who goes down on his wife, and he says once in a while you see something like TP crumbles. You don't point it out that there's TP in the vagina area. You just flick it aside and move on. Like, you don't want to, like, ruin a sexy situation by shaming somebody.
That's what I play that sound effect. I'm not joking.
And that's so true, because like I can't tell you how many times I probably have been fisting with a partner or a playmate or something like that, and there is something there, and not even just fisting, like even having anal penetrative sex, and it's like if there's a little bit of something there or whatever, and it's clearly not a big deal, and it's solid, like whatever, like push it to the side, whatever the case may be. Like I've taken it, wiped it off, put it on the towel, and I do it so discreetly that my bottom is never even aware that it even happened. And that's the way that I want it to be. Like, I don't want my bottom to know that there might have been a little bit of poo there or something like that. If it's something that I can move beyond and it's not happening and it's not continuing to happen, like, why ruin the mood or the session over like a little flick of poop or something like that when you could just discard it and continue on? Like, I've had such great and amazing sessions just by continuing to move on with the process.
Yeah.
Completely.
Like, just keep going, keep it. And you know, for me, it's all about exploring. Like, every single partner is different. And I think that's one of the things that newbies could probably keep in mind is like, all of your partners are going to be different. Not every vaginal canal is going to be the same. Not every anal canal is going to be the same. It's going to be different on every woman. It's going to be different on every man. And it's all about taking the time to be patient, to explore. I don't care if I saw a guy take a fist and everything all the way to like the freaking bicep. I'm always going to start off with that guy with 2 fingers and fingering it out, making sure that I'm feeling my way through it, because also the last thing you want to do is put your hand all the way inside and you don't know which direction you need to go in. And now it's like your fingers are cramping, and if your fingers are cramping, so is the guy's butthole. So you're definitely doing something wrong. Whatever you feel, just imagine that guy or girl is feeling it like times 10.
Wait, what do you mean different directions? Somebody's colon can go to the left and other people's colons go to the right or whatever?
Yeah, you can totally go inside of someone's colon. And when you get inside, some people actually have like enough room in that initial part of their cavity that you can rest your fist right inside and be able to move around and stuff like that and feel your way through it. And other people, you actually need to move tissue to the side to be able to find where the remaining access is of the canal so that you can advance forward. Because if you don't find that while you're advancing, you might hurt that person by making sure, or you might hurt that person because there's not enough room in there to accommodate for your hand. And depending on what the size of your hand is, that could be a really bad thing. So but that also takes us to another aspect of fisting, which is like how beautiful and intense fisting can be, because it's such a delicate and intricate process. Sorry, Siri is trying to listen in on our conversation. Sorry about that. My Apple Watch is like, sorry, I'm having trouble trying to hear you. That's
Siri's like, did you say fisting?
Right?
Here's what I got for you.
It's like there's so many different intricacies to fisting that makes it that much more of an intimate connection. And you have to be super mindful about all of that stuff. And when you are that much more mindful about the process that you're going through with a partner, then it helps to make it that much more of a dynamic session.
That was my that was great. I mean, that was amazing. Like what you just mentioned, all that stuff, which applies, I think, to any sexual relationship. I imagine, like anything, like you should always, like, you know, obviously start off slow and then see where the person's willing to go, and then, you know, kind of go take it from there.
Yeah, like, I mean, I can't tell you how many guys that I might have, you know, started off fucking or whatever, and it was like they pulled me right on in, and it was like, oh, okay, that's where we're going. Yeah, like, I get it now. Like, this is where we're going. Yeah, but it's like it's always better to play it safe, completely start off slow, and go there. And I'm very full transparent with regards to my preferences, what I like, what I don't like, and when it comes to fisting, like, even if it's a much more slower pace, I like some really intense sessions. Like, I like to maybe, you know, get inside and do some really intense rotations or something like that. So it's not that I am jackhammering it, but my rotations are very intentional.
It's like you're stirring a soup.
Yes. But I like to be able, I'm so in tune with my hands that I don't even need to look at my hands or look down there to know what it is that I'm doing. I want to be able to take my concentration, my eye contact, and give it all the way to my partner. Like, I want you to know, yes, I know what I'm doing. And yes, I know that you're loving what it is that you're feeling, and that's making it even hotter, because I don't need to stare at my hand inside your butthole to know that our connection is intact and that we're enjoying what it is that we're doing. I can look at you, I can kiss you, I can cradle my free hand behind your neck and still kiss you and everything while still going at your butthole, and we're just like in a dynamic connection. That's like the best for me.
You definitely put your 10,000 hours in.
I'm just saying, like,
that's amazing.
Like, I put my time in.
That's great. You're like, I don't have to look at what I'm doing. I just know. Like, you just, you're kind of like, that's amazing.
Oh, gosh. And you know what? And it doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen every session. And it doesn't mean that was a bad session. I just didn't get that aspect in the session. But, like, I remember I was at Darklands, which is an event that Reegür was a sponsor of. And it was back in March. It's Belgium. And in Amsterdam, or Antwerp. Sorry. It's in Antwerp in Belgium. And I can remember meeting up with the guy that I'd only chatted with before. And we finally got to meet. And when we got to meet, it was so dynamic when we had our session because we were able to kiss and we were able to fist. And I was kissing him without needing to take my fist out of him and everything. And it was like so intense. And it was almost like we were chest to chest, almost hugging. And my fist was still inside his butthole between his legs. And that experience, you just don't get to have all the time. But it was like, when you're focused on your bottom, you allow for, or I'm sorry, when a bottom is focused on the top is focused on the bottom, whether it's male or female, it allows for that much more of a dynamic session when you're giving the opportunity for connection to be there and you're not limiting yourself on what the session could evolve into.
Wow. Amazing.
I feel like you should write a romantic novel about this. This is so...
Yeah.
I love it.
I'd buy
so
the book.
lovely.
I'd buy the book.
It's a huge passion. It's been a huge passion. And you know what? I never truly felt connected to, I have to watch my words. I have been connected to quite natural communities. Like I can connect with, the Black community. I can connect with the technology community. I can connect with, a lot of other different types of communities. But under the umbrella of LGBTQIA, X, Y, and Z, as I call it. Oh, God, there's so many different letters that are always added on, and I'm sure somebody's going to try to crucify me after they hear this interview.
Sure. Yeah.
But, the thing is, it's like when you are... God, I spent so much time focusing on the LGBTQIA that I completely spaced. What were we just talking about?
We're talking about being romantic and
yes.
How you feel. Your connection with the fisting community versus your other communities.
When I met individuals in the fisting community, meeting those individuals, I found that there was so much more that we could have beyond the sexual connection. It was like we have the sexual connection, and then we also are able to enjoy each other and not have to put too much emphasis on the sexual aspects or the sexual components. It was a lot of that stuff. So that was the first time that I found that I had a sense of connection to a community underneath the LGBTQ IA umbrella. So fisting for me became much more passionate than just, a sexual component or a sexual act.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Also, I've heard of Fist Fest. Mm-hmm. And I tried emailing them about being on the show, and they never got back to me. Have you been to Fist Fest?
Yeah, so I have been to Fist Fest, and then also Reegür has promoted some events at Fist Fest as well too.
Oh, amazing!
So Reegür promoted two things at Fist Fest that were called a Rumble Night.
Oh,
and
Rumble Night.
We did it for two of the Fist Fest, and we now have since no longer we're no longer going to do that at Fist Fest, but support all of the fisting events, and I support all of the events that help to bring the community together. So whether that's Fist Fest or Reegur's Rose Bowl or anything like that, I support all of the events that help to bring the community together. And my only encouragement to any promoter is that they are keeping the community first and they are allowing for the community members to have the best experience that they could possibly have.
Yeah.
Wait, can you rewind a second? You said Reegür has the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, so Reegür hosts an event annually in Palm Springs, California.
Oh my God, I can already...
is titled the Reegür Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl is hosted in Palm Springs, California. It's technically hosted in Cathedral City, but more people know Palm Springs than they do Cathedral City.
Yeah.
So that is where Rose Bowl is held at CCBC. And I usually spend some time throughout the year to reach out to a lot of the other companies and businesses that the community tends to either frequent with or make purchases from, such as Mr. Hanky's Toys, Bad Dragon Toys, Mr. S Leather, Square Peg Toys, some of the more local ones to Palm Springs, like Fetish Locker. So I reach out to them and see what it is that they want to contribute to Rose Bowl so that I can involve some more of the community business engagement. And it's a 4-day weekend. There are times that are set up for individuals to be able to enjoy like a community group play kind of thing. So there are like slings that are set up, everywhere. There are really different, unique play spaces that are set up everywhere. There's tents. I fly out a DJ. The DJ flies in from France.
Oh, wow.
He's French. DJ Key's cool. So he flies in and he puts on really, really good, amazing sets. And he lot of good different thought processes into the vibe and what people might be feeling while they're having their sessions. And I got a lot of really good feedback from that as well, too. So it's a really, really great experience. It's a time for people to come out to the desert, enjoy Palm Springs, and also enjoy interacting with each other in the community and taking some of those online connections and having those online connections in person. Like that guy that you've been chatting, like the guy I mentioned, in Belgium. It's like somebody that you've been chatting with, and they may live in Europe. And it's like, oh, you live in Europe, I live in Seattle, Washington, and now we're going to be able to meet each other at the Rose Bowl. So those are one of the big things I like about that. Yeah.
You said swing, so I'm assuming that's a sex swing?
Oh, sling.
Oh, sling. Oh, okay.
Yes, sex sling.
Okay.
There we go.
So it's something to like hold somebody up.
Yes. So basically, it's usually it's like an X bar at the top. It's an X bar at the bottom, and there are 4 poles that are connecting both of those X's. And the slings are normally hoisted up by chains. So there's a chain on each pole. An individual usually will lay on their back, and it just kind of allows you to kind of sit there, almost if you're in like a what do you call those? Like what are those things called that people lay in? It's like a canopy.
Like a hammock?
A hammock. Yes, a hammock. So imagine if the hammock was attached to like a 4-legged device and it was still suspended in the air, except the part that's hanging up where your legs are is actually like your legs have the ability to be open. Like your legs are up in stirrups.
Oh, I want to see a picture of this. It's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Sounding.
And it's like full butthole access all day long.
That's the clip of the day.
All day long. Oh, yeah. It's so hot. Like, I mean, whatever it is you're into, whoever you are, whether you're a male, you're a female, like it gives full on access for vaginal and anal insertion. They're really good for sex as well, too, because the top can grab on to the chains and use the chains to pull their partner
it's
in
like a pulley
further.
system.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, you said women, so Rose Bowl is not just for the gay community, it's for females too?
So no, Rose Bowl actually has been geared more so towards guys.
Okay.
However, there are some things that are in the works to have a unique collaborative experience that brings in together the heterosexual community and the gay community, both guys and girls, to all be able to enjoy one mutual thing that we all enjoy, and being able to openly embrace and accept each other for all of our other differences, even if it means that this particular sexual act is what it is that brought us together.
Right.
And there, of course, will be like some other unique identifiers with who might want to be involved with the guy, who might want to be involved with the girl. So that might be an armband, or it might be some type of thing that's attached to a necklace that a person could wear, or like a neon light or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But I definitely am going to, I've been working on putting together with some different promoters something to do to bring all of those different communities together in one play space and be able to enjoy, this one sexual act that we all love a lot.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that, I feel like when the heterosexual community and the gay community can come together and be respectful, it's a wonderful place.
It's super dynamic. Like, the experience is dynamic. I can remember there is a guy who hosts an event in Detroit. It's called War of the Roses. And it was at my very first War of the Roses that I went to that I saw lesbians interacting and fisting in like a public environment. And there were just a couple of them that were out there on the floor space with all the rest of the guys. But it was so freaking hot. Like, the dynamic of having girls and guys and everyone is just like doing fisting. Something about that just like spoke to me a lot. And I really love that he kind of brought that that uniqueness. Ken Kennedy is his name, but I really love that Ken brought that uniqueness to the community and added in another thing. And it was something that I had envisioned in my mind, but seeing it in person was really, really dynamic.
Wow.
That's awesome. And why is Rose tied into so many of these titles?
But is it because, wait, before you answer that, is that because of the whole rosebud thing?
Yes, it is because of the prolapse.
I knew it.
It is actually look, ding, ding, ding. Great sound effects.
Oh, wait,
baby.
I know. I'm fucked up on this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Dave, I know this. I just want to make sure the audience
Well, I was
knows
trying to say it, and you were like cutting me. I was like, fuck, I was about to say that, but it's fine. Yes.
Yes, it is definitely in resemblance of the roles for your prolapse. So in anal prolapse and all that other kind of good stuff or whatever, it typically resembles a rose. So that's where that came from. So a lot of people have done plays on words, and I've done a lot of different types of play on words. Like I did the rumble night, which kind of puts you in the mind of like fisting and, kind of insert, like somebody say, get ready to rumble.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they rub their fist like in a really fast motion. So I like to have a lot of different play on words. So it's like there's the Reegür Rose Bowl, and then there was the Rumble Night, and then there's another event that Reegür has that's actually a collaborative agreement with Steamworks Bathhouses. So Steamworks Bathhouse in Chicago, Steamworks Bathhouse in Seattle, and we're also working with some of the other ones like in Vancouver and in the upper part state of New York. I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. It's not at the top of my head. But they have an event now that I call Guns N' Roses.
Oh, my God.
So there's also the Reegür Guns N' Roses. So I am really big about like nice, cool, quirky play on words and stuff like that.
That is unbelievable, man.
To any of our audience members out there, I would love for you, if you have any kind of fisting, please, you can email us anonymously. It will read your stories. If you have any questions, we can follow up with Brandon. Please, anybody, email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to talk to you more about fisting.
Or actually, we just have another big announcement with that. If you want to actually leave a voicemail for us, we actually have a new Hey Poopy phone number.
Hotline.
We have the I'm sorry, I just keep laughing because it's like the Hey Poopy hotline. But yes, if you have any of these crazy stories you want to talk about, just give us a call at 203-998-5579. Leave a message. We can either play it on the show or read it, whatever you'd like. But just drop those stories off to us.
Yes.
And because you guys are the Hey Poopy Podcast, I do know that there is now, to my knowledge, there is a huge integration between the scat play community and the fisting community.
Really?
There are some people who love to experience scat play with fisting at the same time, and it's become that much more of a not as much taboo kind of a thing. But there's a huge intersection between the fisting community and scat play.
Wow.
So if you guys definitely probably brought some of that to the arena. I know that there are a lot of individuals out there who are into scat play and also into fisting and stuff like that. And scat play alone is definitely like a really big topic. It's almost like how fisting used to be. It's like fisting is the new oral sex. Like a lot of people are talking about
to the mainstream.
Not as, it's like it's not as on the down low as what it used to be. A lot of guys are much more prouder about saying that they're a member of the fist community. And I think that the scat community is the next one that is being pulled away from, the judgmental and down low kind of thing or whatever. And a lot of people are honing in on the fact that, I'm a member of the scat community and I'm proud of it. So that definitely is one that would be a good topic for a lot of people to hear and be reinforced about.
Two things. One, is there a section on Reegür for scat play people, or is there a totally different site?
So there is not a section on Reegür for that. However, I have been informed by one of my therapy clients that I see, who is also into scat play, that there is a site that a lot of people go to now that are into scat play, and it's become quite popular. So I can definitely send you guys over a link for any of your listeners that are finding other individuals that are into scat play.
Yes, and that was my second question is, do you know any of these people? Because we'd like to interview them. And I know Dave is cringing at me saying that.
I'm not trying to shame anybody at all. I just, that's the one, I'm like, woo, that's hardcore. But, look, we have a podcast about this. We have to cover it. So, yes, come on the show. We'll talk about
the same
it.
thing about fisting, and it's like, and here we are. Like, some people will say that is extreme, that is hardcore, and here it is. We're having a conversation about freaking putting hands in buttholes.
To me, fisting is like
and vaginal canal.
To me, fisting is like golfing compared to like scat play. I'm just like, it is like, it's just like having tea and cookies or something. Like that's like having like a salad compared to like.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Brandon, we've had 2 guests on the podcast. One, there's Mistress Ashley Page, who's a dominatrix, who has her poo guys, who like she told us all about like force consumption and pooping on these guys. And then we had Ryan Keeley, the porn star, who did a scene with Michael Vegas, and where like Michael Vegas is known for does more heterosexual fisting. He has women fisting him, and she was telling us that she did a scene where she was like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I recently saw some of his footage, and some of his footage was hot. Like, he makes me wish that he did some stuff with guys. Like, I'm like, if you do stuff with guys too, like, I am totally like a candidate. I want to be a candidate.
That guy's like an athlete.
Oh yeah, like I saw some of his scenes and watching some of those girls do the things they were doing to him. It is so hot. And another thing, it's so hot because you don't see it all the time. Like, you don't see as many guys getting fisted by girls, but it happens. All don't see it.
Yeah. It's like an ass unicorn.
I don't know if we should ask any our regular questions, because you have like literally told
covered
us so
everything.
much.
Yeah, like stuff that I never knew about, which is pretty amazing. Like, really, like I'm just like sitting going like, what? No, it's amazing.
Well, the list is the one that I emailed you, like, what brand of toilet paper do you like? Do you have any accident stories? But I mean, we've already been talking to you for over an hour about fisting, and like I could talk to you for probably 10 hours straight and never get my.
She's not lying. She's not lying about that, actually. But no, I mean, we can go into our. I mean, if you want, we can go into.
Well, no, yeah. Do you want to talk about anything else, Brandon?
Whatever you guys want to talk about. I mean, for me, a lot of it is just like reinforcing, to people that the fist community is typically very, very open. Like a lot of the fetish and kink communities, they're usually very open. They're very embracing. If somebody is interested in fisting, like there are individuals out there who love to take the time to go through the training with you. It's just a matter of finding out who those individuals are. Yeah. And even another really popular website before Reegür even came along was AskPig, AskPig.com.
AskPig?
Holy shit.
Yes.
Like,
ask anybody. Like, and I talked to the owner of AskPig, and we actually have had several conversations with each other. And while a lot of people would think that we're competitors of each other, we're actually not. But AskPig is another website that they do this really cool thing that's called certifications, and it allows you to be able to look at who an individual has played with, and you can get comments and reviews about sessions that other guys have had with that person. Yeah, and it's really cool because it's like, oh, well, if I'm into Thomas, and Thomas, I had a really great session with him, and I see all these other guys that Thomas has had a session with, maybe I might be interested in those other guys that Thomas has had a session with. And I would only know that by, of course, asking Thomas or looking at all of the certifications that he may have.
It's
almost like a Yelp for ass.
I was just going to say that. Literally was going to say that. Damn it.
And it's actually, surprisingly, it's one of the requests that I get for Reegür all the time. A lot of guys want that same similar feature to be a part of the platform. So it is something that we're working on with adding that in. And it is nice to know that, some guys played with this person that you're into, and they had a really, really good experience with that person.
Wait, the other website's ASSPIG?
Just like it sounds.
Okay. No offense to them, but
aggressive name, really aggressive name.
I think Reegür sounds a little bit more regal. It sounds a little bit.
I have a really dumb, obvious question, but when you were thinking up names, did Fister come up at all? Like
no,
FSTR?
It did not come up. It didn't come up. But I will say this, Reegür was an unintentional kind of name. Originally, when a lot of this stuff started, there was a business partner, and we have since separated, and that's been for some years now. So everything that for Reegür to be today, outside of the name, has pretty much just been all under my management.
Gotcha.
But it started off as an accident. I gave a suggestion to him. He said something back, and I took what he said back and added a little twist to it. And I was like, I like this. Reegür, what about that? And he's like, it sounds like regurgitate. And I was like, I don't care. I want Reegür.
No, Reegür actually is like, I like it because it's like, it is like Ellen said, it's a little more regal. It's got like more of a je ne sais quoi,
that
if you will.
was my thought processes about that.
Yeah.
And I was hoping, and then of course, like a lot of people will tell you that a lot of kink and fetish kind of resonates too with Europe, heavily with Europe. And I wanted to add the two umlauts over the years just to give like a head nod to the European community. And actually, the European community, they are the second largest of the Reegür users on the platform. So the United States would be first, and then the Europeans will come after that. And then beyond that, it's like Russia, a lot of people in Asia. And then we go over to like Canada and a few other places. Oh, in South America, there are a ton of people in South America on the platform as well too. But yeah, so it started off as just like a whatever thing, and it was like unintentional, and it just stuck.
Yeah, Reegür is really smooth, and like I just feel like it's elevated. Where Ass Pig is more like it's got like I don't know.
It's
got some
raw and uncut.
Yeah, it's got a lot of.
It's raw and uncut.
Yeah, it's got a lot of rust around the edges. There's like it's a little dirt and grime everywhere. It's like a boarded up shack.
It's like one of those staple, things in the community, and it's like it's always been a staple go-to website. I love communicating with the owner and talking to him about how Ass Pig is doing. He gets updates on how Reegür is doing, and I love that collaborative approach. Like I think that there is room for everybody to eat at the table.
Oh, totally.
And I love those community collaborations.
Completely.
And it's like a yin and a yang. I feel like you need both, like the hardcore and like something a little bit more subtle, but you're both kind of coming to the table with the same thing. I mean, like,
and Ass Pig is in all senses, Ass Pig is a website. Like, you have to go to asspig.com to be able to reach it. But Reegür, on the other hand, is only a mobile application. There is a web app that is being formulated, so you can go to the Reegür.com website and then also be able to log into your account and interact.
Like
but
desktop,
that's like an in working progress because it has to be, back end wired with the application, a lot of other kind of stuff. But, I mean, the technical way that you would pronounce Reegür is Reegür because of the umlauts over
the right.
Because it's almost like a yell sound, like you add a Y in it. So it's like Reegür.
Reegür.
I like it. I think it's great.
It sounds like
it's become my baby.
It sounds like eager and royal at the same time.
Yes.
Yes. I want people to think about Reegür. I want them to think about fisting, but I also want them to think about... You get them to think of and fisting together, then my work is pretty much done for me.
Right.
That's all I care about. I just want for individuals to have that sense of connectivity, and not only having that sense of connectivity online, but having that sense of connectivity with your partners in person, and having that sense of connectivity when you're out and about and you're at certain events like IML or MAL or at a Rose Bowl or a Fist Fest or even Darklands, some of the other really popular events overseas. Like, I want people to think about fisting and think about, community connection.
That's amazing.
I love it.
I love the fact that you took technology and, like, again, it's like bringing these communities that were in the shadows, for lack of a better term, and it's kind of like, oh, there's more than just me. Like, I mean,
it hasn't been easy. Yeah, like everything that you're saying now, like it totally hasn't been easy. Like when I was originally launching the platform, and we just finished doing development, and we were working with Apple and we were working with Google. There were a lot of barriers that ended up being crossed. Like Reegür originally was accepted into the Apple Store, and then after a while, it was taken out of the Apple Store. And then there was a lot of, this compared to this application or this compared to that application. There were just a lot of different things. And, Reegür is now, of course, back in the Apple Store again. But, the people don't know what it takes to try to allow for that to happen. But I have been that much more super appreciative of the support that the community gives, because it gives me the willpower to want to continue to move forward, to want to press, the boundaries, to want to press some of those border lines and, create room for us, because there should be room created for us.
Yeah.
Completely.
I think the only thing that we didn't talk about with regards to Reegür and its inception, Reegür actually came from having like an epiphany moment. Like, I totally was using another app, and it's an app that is just geared towards all fetishes, not just one in particular.
Right.
And the only way that I can find other fisters was if I looked at the fister search, like the fisting category search. Well, then it's like, Well, yeah, you may get the guys who are totally into fisting to come back, but they might be into fisting, they're into rubber, they're into scat, they're into this, they're into that. And I'm like, okay, so you might only be into fisting like maybe 10%, and you're into all the other things like so much more. Right. And it was like, no, I want to get together with guys that are like super fucking freaking passionate about, you know, the art form of fisting. So that was where Reegür was birthed out of. It was birthed out of having an epiphany moment of not having a singular space for me to be able to just go and find fisters on a mobile application, and that's it.
Right.
I love it.
It's amazing.
And I'm like, if you could download an application that's just for like fisting and butthole play and, you know, extreme vaginal play and stuff like that, you're definitely a person who's a part of the community.
Completely.
Fantastic. I love it. Wow.
And as long as it's about consenting adults who communicate, we're all for it.
100%.
Yes, and you definitely have to be, or of course, it's advertised. You have to be 18 or older to even go on the Reegür website. You have to be 18 or older, or 17 plus, as some of the app categories will put it. You have to at least fall within those ranges and consenting and everything for all of that. And then there's also like security and safety mechanisms. Like for Reegür, you can, as of right now, you can only log in by getting a secure text message code that comes to your phone directly. That prevents from having a lot of spam accounts and stuff like that a lot of other applications have gotten. There's a lot of reporting features which are required by some of the like Apple and Google. They will say you have to have a reporting feature just in case someone is doing something that is not on the up and ups. Like if there's a child or if there's you know, some animal stuff, like there's definitely like a report tool for all of the private and public photos and stuff like that. Any other questions you guys have about like this whole world of fisting and stuff? And we can totally do like a part two.
I have one question.
If you guys come up with more questions, we can do like a part two.
Oh, actually would love that because I learned so much. But I do have one question, and this is more just like out of pure curiosity. You were mentioning before, you're like, you know, if you're having a session with somebody and you know, obviously you take it slow as opposed to just going in like up to your elbow. Like, what's like the farthest you've gone with your arm? Because that is like physiology. Shoulder. What?
Shoulder. Definitely shoulder, and there is footage to prove it. Boom. I've totally gone to shoulder, and I've gone shoulder deep, and like I want to say maybe 4 or 5 guys.
Woo. Wait, can I just ask though? It's not straight. It's moved.
Straight. Yeah, it's straight. Yeah. I mean, because like a lot of, so that is one really big myth about like, you know, anatomy and physiology is that like things go up and they actually curve straight over and blah, blah, blah. Like it totally does not work that way. Like the body is, it's like, you know, a bunch of like really soft tissues and stuff like that. So it's actually forming to the direction that you're going in as opposed to you forming in its direction. Now, don't get me wrong. Some places in the anal canal, like where there's muscle spaces and stuff like that, those you can't bend or move. Like you just have to work with what you got kind of thing. So not everybody can do that. Like some people can only go as far as like the wrist. Some people can only go as far as the elbow. And then some people, they have like a straight canal and you can go all the way in.
Were you like up in the, I imagine your fingers are coming out of his mouth. That's just like insane. I
know, right? Like I totally have touched a man's heart before. No, I'm just playing. I have not touched a man's heart.
Oh my God.
That's some Indiana Jones type
I almost passed
but
out.
No, like I mean, you can definitely feel like the pulsating in some areas, like with the nerves. Like you can feel it. You can totally feel it.
Wow.
Wait, the person you got to the shoulder, tell me they're like over 6 feet tall.
Both.
So you've done it to short guys.
I've done it with tall guys and shorter guys. Yeah, I think the tallest guy that I might have done that to was like 6'4", 6'6".
No, but who's the shortest?
If I had to say the shortest, I want to say he's probably he's got to be only like maybe 5'8" or so, 5'9" maybe. Yeah, right around there. Give or take.
But how long is your arm?
I mean, that's like, thank God.
Long enough.
Yeah. Oh my God, could you imagine if Brandon was like an NBA player? The guy would be like,
right.
Oh my God.
But you know what? Even those times can also be really intense when I've had those sessions because I have fisted some guys to like the bicep and to the shoulder and stuff like that, where it's like we can have really intense sessions, like super intense. And then you have to be so skilled at what you're doing and paying attention so that, you know, something potentially bad doesn't happen. But then I've had the other guys, I can go that deep, but I can't really move around a lot.
Yeah.
It's super intense for them. So it's like you may get there. There's been like one of those guys out of the 4 or 5 that I can remember that like I went in really, really deep, and I can only make like subtle movements with him when we got in really deep.
Yeah.
And, then I came out and it was just whatever. But then like all the other guys that I've definitely gone deep on, we've had super intense, deep sessions. Like they were super advanced. We were both advanced players, and I was able to go all the way in, go all the way out, and even be able to do it with fast repetition.
Wow. That is amazing.
I know, right?
That is,
but it's like even thinking about it, like kind of like makes me want to get my pinga hard, like all day long. Because I'm thinking about those sessions that I've had with guys that were like super deep sessions, and it's like, wow. And the one thing I will tell you guys a secret. Can I tell you guys a secret?
Please.
Yes.
Okay,
Remember, it's being recorded.
All right, you guys gonna tell anybody else?
Well, just our listeners.
There's a secret that I will put out there. Like I have had sexual experiences with women, but that was like over a decade ago. Like I was 19, I think, the last time that I had a sexual interaction with a woman. But there is definitely a strong want to have that female vaginal fisting experience. And if I could have that experience with a woman that can get fisted vaginally and anally, and I can try to work both of them out at the same time, like,
wow,
I would be to the moon. Like, I would literally be to the fucking moon.
Well, maybe someone out there in our listeners would be like, hey.
Yes, listeners, if you are listening to me, Brandon would love to have a female vaginal anal fisting experience.
You're here to hear first.
Now it's out there on the table.
There's one friend of mine, I am not going to say her name. I'm literally texting right after this.
Oh, I think I know the one you're talking about.
I think you do know, too.
Hold on, wait. Is she into both or one or the other or what?
All of the above.
Really? Where is she located?
She's coming to you right now.
I'll email you later.
I say, is she in New York? Is she in California?
Oh, I have one last question.
Yeah.
COVID has really fucked up your shit, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, it's fucked up just dating, like going out to a bar to date. So, like, how is the fisting community doing right now during?
So, I know that a lot of guys have now kind of gotten back into the swing of things. For the most part, some of the guys are sticking with the same partners and not trying to play with others. Like, I know some people in Florida, like some good friends of mine in Florida, they are all just playing with each other. There's like 4 of them, and they're all just playing. Like 2 are husbands, and the other 2 are just good friends, but all 4 of them are only playing with each other. But I know a lot of people are now kind of like becoming much more relaxed about it, and they're getting back out there into playing and stuff like that. I mean, and it was already up to preference whether a person used gloves or not, and a lot of people leave it up to the bottom to make that decision on whether or not they want the top to use gloves. But I think that people are easing back into it again, and
I mean, COVID is mostly spread through droplets from the nose and mouth.
Correct.
But we do know about that it can be in poop, too.
Yes.
So I feel like you could still fist as long as you keep a mask on and you don't get the poop anywhere near your nose or mouth.
Well, then there's the other aspect, too. Like, you got to think, it's like you're wearing a mask, but you're also, it depends on the mask that you're wearing. Like, if you're not wearing some N95 that's, like, completely stuck to your face.
Yeah.
Then you're more than likely still going to have some of those open spaces. And when you're engaging in a sexual activity with a person, you're usually not 6 feet away from that individual either. So I definitely think that, like, there's the precautions that people can take that are within reason. But, at the same time, it's like with any other sexual activity or anything else that you're going to engage into, like, know the risks that are involved with what it is you're dealing with. And then at the end of the day, also be open to whatever the outcomes that may potentially happen from engaging in, that risky activity or that risky behavior.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I know guys have definitely, kind of continued to play, and some of them are playing in silos. Surprisingly enough, there were not a lot of refund requests for Rose Bowl. So Rose Bowl was originally supposed to happen in June, and it was going to be June 11th through the 14th. And then we moved it to September, and it was going to be the end of September, like September 27th through whatever that is. And a lot of guys did not request a refund. Like when COVID was even beginning to happen and all that other stuff, guys were really wanting the event to happen and hoping that it would happen. But myself as a member of the community and also a person who is on the lines of like a health advocate as well, I could not in good conscience, along with the resort, allow for the event to happen, knowing that we may potentially have members of our community be sick or members of our community that are going to be lost to the community.
Yes,
it's
100%.
like it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
But guys definitely were wanting for it to happen, and I think even then, guys are looking for an even bigger and better 2021 Rose Bowl.
Yes. I mean, all good things come to those who wait. Everything is postponed. It's not canceled. So,
even with the apps, it's been the same way, too. Like, I mean, I have other apps that I have used as well, too, in general, like one or two others. But, like, I haven't even really touched them myself. So it's like nobody has really touched a lot of the applications, including Reegür. But now we definitely have started to see an uptick in the trends of, because we were averaging around like 15, 20 new users a day.
Wow, that's
and
great.
It was like, and it was like out of that 15, 20 new users a day, like it started to trickle down a little bit to like maybe 10 users a day, and some days maybe 7 on the lighter side. But now it's definitely trickling back up. And I think right now Reegür does at least a minimum of 300 new users a month.
Wow, that's great.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
At least a minimum of that. So it's pretty well. So all of that is very indicative of what COVID-19 has done and how it's impacted. It's impacted Reegür as a business. It's also impacted, Reegür as a community supporter. And I've gotten to see also some other intricacies from the backside of it, of how the community has been interacting and engaging with each other with the application during COVID-19.
Wow. Also, real quick,
go ahead.
We're getting these. Do they sell gloves that go up to your shoulder?
Yes, they definitely have gloves that are rubber and latex gloves that you can get that come all the way up, usually to the bicep. They usually don't come up that far, and if somebody is wearing something that comes up that far, they're probably wearing a cat suit.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, so it's like they're probably in a whole rubber suit, so it's like they're just rubbered out all the way
gotcha.
over.
Because I was going to say,
I feel like I've seen those with veterinary, like for big animals, like horses and cows. I've seen those gloves that are been.
I had to ask, because I was just kind of curious for a second. I'm like, wait.
And because you guys made me think about something, because we are in a very socially conscious, aware, movement right now on a lot of different fronts. When Reegür was originally incepted, I refused to allow for the application to have a race category. And it is one thing that you can search. You can normally search by races in all other applications. You cannot search by race. And actually, it's at a point now where, so it was a freehand text. So in the race category, you would be able to just write in, like in mine, it says human.
Yes.
But now it's going to be more so that the race category is going to go away altogether. So you won't even be able to see it. And for me, it's like, does it really matter? If I identify as a black man, but I'm so fair skinned that you probably thought that I was, Latino or something like that. It's like, and you still play with me. It challenges the norm. So you definitely cannot search by race on the filter searches, and the race category is also going to be removed from the platform. I truly believe that, yes, all lives matter, but I also believe in the intricacies that are applicable to each of those individual, whether it's minority, whether it's, Caucasian. Everyone has an issue. Everyone has a struggle. And the more that we validate each other in those issues and those struggles, the more we can see ourselves move towards a progressive agenda. And I hope that by me doing something like that with the Reegür application, it that much more further pushes the agenda. And even the new, so Reegür is about to release an update, 2.0.4, look for it. But in that update, the picture that is going to be in the Apple Store and the Google Store, it's much more inclusive and diverse. Like there are female fisters in there. There are pictures of 2 lesbian couples, and there are pictures of females by themselves. So Reegür is definitely now able to push the envelope much more further and allow for much more inclusivity with regards to the sexes and preferences.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I love it. That's fantastic.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
I love it. Siri wants to get in on this.
Hear me loud.
Well, I think this has been so amazing. I think we should just bypass our normal segments, because this was like a special to me. This is like a completely special episode, and I just want to end on this high note. Thank you for coming on this show. I mean, this is so fascinating to me, and I know Ellen's dreams will come true.
I had no idea that this was like a Ellen, dream kind of.
She's been chomping at the bit
I can be a part of
no, we've been. It's truly fascinating. I was learning all this stuff today.
Dave knows my curiosity is very, very broad, and so on our podcast of everything, but I'm very broad. Like, it might not be something I'm not interested in scat play for myself, but I'm interested in interviewing somebody about it.
Yeah, and same here. Like, I would love to even hear more about it. So I would love to tune into that, because I'm not into scat play directly. But I've navigated around some scat. But,
yeah.
But
scat
I would
adjacent.
definitely love to hear, more about that community and individuals' intricacies with that, and all the case sensitivities that come along with it as well. And, thanks to actually Reegür that brought us all together. Like, it was due to a mutual friend or a mutual acquaintance that, we're even here. And I met him through Reegür. It was so interesting. But
bringing people together.
Anytime you guys want to talk about like more fisting things and stuff like that, I'd be more than happy to talk about some other intricacies and just focus on some of those different types of things. And
that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. Well, with that, I mean, I know we've talked about it a bunch, but like, just for like, our listeners out there, where can we find, like, just give us the whole lowdown, like, like Reegür, is there an Instagram feed, Twitter, like, obviously, like, it's an app.
So Reegür does have an Instagram. Everything for Reegür with social media is @official Reegür.
Okay.
So you can find @official Reegür on Twitter. You can find @official Reegür on Facebook, and you can also find @official Reegür on Instagram. And we also have a Facebook group, which you'll find just by going to @official Reegür, or if you just typed in Reegür in the search, it'll definitely come up.
Amazing.
But we retweet a lot of stuff on Twitter. Like, we retweet a lot of really hot videos that we come across and that some of our community members produce. Like, we totally retweet a lot of that stuff. We retweet some of the community events. There's a weekly sobriety, like Fisters in Recovery. So there's a Fisters in Recovery meeting that happens every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's always through Zoom. And there are guys who are in recovery from alcohol and other substances, and they all get together. And it's another beautiful thing about the fisting community. It's like, we're all fisters, and those guys have the ability to talk about, their recovery experience also as it relates to being a fister.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Wow, you're really doing like some amazing work. Really.
I'm working on it. And, it takes a community. It takes a village. That's what I like to say. It's very old school. It takes a village to raise this baby.
It does. Well,
and I want to say it again. If anybody out there has any questions, please email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com. We will have Brandon on again. I would love to ask him more questions.
Ellen's gonna, after we get off the phone, Ellen's gonna be like, "Oh my God, I forgot to ask him this." There's gonna be a battery.
Yeah, even if you guys, if you want to play around and do like a live segment where we can actually have fisters, like call in and ask questions and stuff like that, that would be really cool and neat.
That would be actually amazing.
Like,
we can promote it through it through the app. We can promote it through a lot of the other social media feeds and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I'm totally down for it.
Wow.
I love it.
Okay.
Yes.
That is fantastic.
Then we can use our hotline.
Yeah, and again,
use the Poopy.
We do have a Hey Poopy hotline. It's again, our Hey Poopy hotline is 203-998-5579. So call in.
Hey Poopy.
Hey
Poopy.
Right. I have to use that for a little soundbite as well. That was good. That was smooth.
Well, thank you again, Brandon. This was incredible.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. Really. It was a pleasure.
I needed a good, sans COVID-19 laugh, and you guys have brought tears to my eyes, from the get-go. It was dying, laughing. I've never talked about shit so much, and actually, I actually had so many laughs about talking about shit. It's amazing.
Well, we're glad you liked it. So, but again, all right.
Well, with that, everybody, happy pooping and toot toot toot.
Hey Poopy Podcast is brought to you by Perfect 4 Entertainment. Produced by Dave and Ellen, with executive producer Stormy Leather, edited by me, Dave.
For more information, go to heypoopypodcast.com for episodes, merch, and more. Follow us on Instagram at heypoopypodcast and Twitter at heypoopy. Theme song by Jordan Perlson. Hey Poopy.